All right, what's up, team? Chris Harrison, owner of Smash Factor Golf Fitness in North Vancouver, Canada's first golf-specific fitness studio, and we're also the first, as far as I know, around the world that's offering a group class model as well as personal training for golf fitness. I want to talk a little equipment today. I am definitely going to be diving into tons more of videos like this, and this will be a little bit longer because I'm a huge equipment nerd. Absolutely love all that shit. It's more an addiction than anything else, but love it all. So what I've been dealing with is too little spin irons and drivers. So like through the bag, outside of wedges. Been playing the Pro V1X for the last couple of years to kind of bring that up, and definitely the spin goes higher than the Pro V1 for sure. But still not getting to where I want to be with the drivers. So that at that point I'm like, oh, do I need to get a new driver head? So I did. I made a trade for a driver of for a driver head of the Rogue Max LS from a couple years back, and I'm currently been gaming last year's Callaway Triple Diamond. So both of those in a 10.5 degree loft, obviously, as I'm looking for more spin, and I just still couldn't get the numbers to where I want to be with the new delivery that I'm putting into the ball, where I'm drawing more of my drivers than I ever used to. My path is much more neutral. At the most, I'm about 2 inside out now, as opposed to I used to play at like 4 to 7 outside in to make sure I was hitting that cut. So I just haven't found the right setup there, where if I hit that on the toe, and last year's Triple Diamond is very low spinning and notoriously tough off the toe. More low spinning in the tests than this year's Triple Diamond. And then the Max LS Rogue that I got is lower spinning than the Rogue LS, and so far in my testing between the two, at least with my delivery, is lower spinning than last year's Triple Diamond. So I've got these two like really low spinning heads, but I am looking to kind of maximize launch conditions. Anyways, so Titleist Pro V1X, helpful. Definitely not everything that I was looking for. Saw a great video from TXG, or they're now part of Club Champion, the Canadian boys, and well, the main guy's Scottish, but they're out of Toronto, and they were testing Callaway's new titanium iron. Which, if you haven't seen that video, check it out. It looks like that club is going to be a unicorn and be an incredible club for a huge range of golfers. Though it is very expensive. It's $300 US a club for those. But if the technology is really good in there, as you're hearing in their video, they're hoping that as the mass manufacturing comes into play, that price will drop. In that video, they talk about how important it is to pick the right ball if you're going to play that style of irons. And they actually showed the difference between a really low spinning ball, they pulled one out, a Srixon one, compared to the Chrome Tour X, which is what I'm talking about today, that they were doing for the rest of the testing. So I have not tried a Callaway ball in years, so I went out to Golf Town, bought this sleeve of Chrome Tour X's, and man, like, what a difference this was for my current setup in the bag. So for my irons, from 6 to pitching wedge, I'm playing a set of Ricky Fowler RFs, so that like super cool copper blade. But the setup of that has a 125 MMT shaft and a TX Flex, though I think it's soft step 1. And I bought these used off a guy. And they're also half an inch longer, which I'm not used to playing. And so whatever's going on with that combination, and the guy before me, I haven't got the lofts checked as well. I got a feeling he's probably jacked the lofts up 1 or 2 degrees as well, because they're super traditional lofted blades. I was gaining like over a club of distance on my irons. So the longer shaft is going to potentially do that, but the graphite MMTs aren't necessarily known to give you a huge distance jump, but they're certainly something that can bring the spin down, and that's what's happening. So the lofts may actually be traditional, but these shafts, but I love these shafts. Like the feel of them are fantastic, so I want to do everything I can to try and make this setup work. And but the gold standard is to be able to get whatever's in the bottom of the club in thousands RPMs. So if you're hitting the 7 iron, you want to try and get 7,000 RPMs or somewhere close to there, especially if you're playing a more traditional golf club that's going to have the spin, as opposed to like a player's distance iron or game improvement iron, like a hollow body, where you're not going to ever get that full number probably once you get to a mid iron, but the descending angle back down they fly so high that your ball's still stopping. So anyways, so for me, I was getting often like 5,500 spin on a 7 iron, and it just means that it's not going to hold greens. So the height is fine, but just the spin is what I want to look to improve. And these were giving me between 300 to 500 RPMs extra with this chrome ball. So it didn't totally get me up to like the gold standard number with it, but I can play my 7 iron at 6,000 spin, 6,100 for sure, especially in our general conditions in Vancouver. So it got me closer up to that point, and then just took a little distance off the shot as well, which will be better for gapping. Where shit really got great is what this did to my driver. So the shots where I would hit with an X, and a little toey, but felt like I put a good swing on it, and I would just get these dive bombs with both driver heads that I currently have right now, and put this ball completely got rid of that. So yes, it's still drawing. Yes, it's maybe going a little bit more left than I wanted to, but it's going deep. So I had PR ball speed this morning on this ball. I had PR total. I had PR carry distance and PR total distance with this ball this morning, and was gaining in average about, I would say across the session, I was probably 7 to 9 yards longer in carry with both drivers. And now the Max LS that I bought, that I thought was a huge, or that I traded for, that I thought was a huge mistake, is now going in the bag off of today's session. Obviously, I'll test it a bunch more and make sure today wasn't just a one-off. But I went back and forth between this ball and back to an X. And so mad props to Callaway. This ball is getting a really good rep both on and off tour. But if you're somebody who's looking for spin or wants to try a different ball, and the feel off the club face with this too is like really thuddy. It really has a like power feel all the way up through the bag. Tons of spin, obviously, on the wedges, and it feels good putting too. So Callaway Tour X, again, is the higher spinning version. Callaway Tour is the lower spinning version, and definitely suggest you give these a try. By the way, if you don't know your numbers on driver, you need to, especially, but irons as well. So if you're somebody, like if you just think your spin's fine because you go to the range and you see where range balls go or whatever, you could be either giving up a ton of distance if you're spinning like deep over 3,000 all the time on good shots, or if your good shots are at like 1,900 RPMs and then you hit it off the toe and you're going down to 1,600, then you would much rather have a little higher spin ball. And I would say broadly, if you're a cutter, go for a lower spin ball broadly, and if you're somebody who draws the ball, you want to just make sure you have enough spin to keep that up in the air. So sorry for the long video, I just love talking about this stuff. So Callaway Chrome Tour, smashfactorfitness.ca. Our non-sweat intro session is free. Have a good day.